Ashley has very kindly also agreed to do a reading for the multi-hyphenate communities. One of the things that I want to be doing when I'm bringing on people in this space is also finding a way for them to do something that's immediately relevant.
So I am going to live do this, a reading when I work with time, specifically. And to go back to the idea of like free will, like you can hear this and change your mind. Like you can make a decision and like nothing is really set in stone. Some things are, but typically like the most set in stone things are typically not shared because to know them would be to change them, understandably. Or to know them would be to suffer unnecessarily before this thing happened. Well, first of all, the theme that came out was the Four of Wands. The wands, which represent the element of fire, which is about like inspiration, passion, excitement, drive, like what moves you. The Four of Wands, that is literally the energy of celebration, of enjoyment, of intentionally finding times to gather, to connect, to take intentional time to be in community and in spaces in which you are allowing yourself to be seen and to be honored and to be heard and to like live it up is the message that's coming through. And the concept of memory dividends, which is creating memories that every time you get to retell the memory or talk about the memory or reflect on the memory, you get a dividend from the memory in your life, or you're like experience it like by telling the story. And so it's important in your 30s and your 20s to be like and containing and experiencing a lot of memories and creating a lot of memories so that when you're in your 50s and 40s and 60s and 70s, you have these dividends that will like continuously repay you in the future. And so this concept of waiting to live your life is actually preventing you from getting memory dividends that you can experience right now.
How this is a concept I've never heard of and is not widely spread is mind-boggling.
That's such a great way of, I think, for anyone that's like in the business, capital B business or entrepreneurship space, think about like, this is a memory dividend. Like going on this journey, doing this thing is something that I'm going to get, like, regardless of what happens from this, it's going to be something that I am going to remember and get excited about and just like enjoy retelling this story later on. And so it feels like really important for all of you to be creating memories and to doing things in your life that you, however big or small, whether it's like a evening road trip, a week long like vacay you've been putting off, like intentionally carving out that time to enjoy yourself. March, I have the Six of Swords. So March is when there's like a transition that starts to happen. Something that feels like for a lot of you, you've been reflecting on, thinking about for a very long time, waiting to do, wondering when the right time is going to be. March is either when the transition happens. So I could see some of you like getting promotions, leaving a job, getting a new job, like deciding to take a move, deciding whether on a more personal level, it's time to like think differently, try something differently. Like I'm really done with the like feeling bumpy and really want to let myself go towards somewhere that feels more stable and feels like I'm allowing myself to have some type of new perspective and new interest. So letting this month, as you're thinking about things like, you know, what does it mean to start to ponder or percolate on the idea of I can transition now. Like I don't need to keep holding on to the old ways now. April, I have the Six of Wands. You see me making a face because you're watching this recording. It's because these are very positive cards. And it's not that we aren't like going through stuff as a collective, because it feels like 2025 is going to be a big year of going through stuff as a collective, which we're seeing already ramp up right now. But something that I have been really thinking about is the practice of joy as a state of rebellion.
Same.
And enjoyment as an act of resistance. And it feels like as I'm reading this and you're like, that's too good to be true. Like, can't be that good. You get to let it be true. April feels like the moment when you're being seen. The Six of Wands is all about being recognized, being honored, being hyped up, being understood, being validated for what you know to be true for so long. And this feels like either an opportunity that comes in that you're like, I was waiting for this. It could be that you get, just like people start saying to you in your life, like, wow, you've really changed. You really become this new version of you. Like, I'm really proud of you. Like, I'm really inspired by you. It could be that you are feeling validated by yourself. It could be that if you're a content creator, you're getting like, you're blowing up on, maybe not TikTok, maybe it's going to go away, but you're blowing up on Instagram, or your newsletter is getting huge, or like your YouTube's getting a lot of views. So there's something about you being witnessed and like really recognized for your vision and for what you know is like your thing, like what you want to be doing. May, that's next month. we have the Eight of Cups, which is also about transition, but because it's cups instead of air, which was the Six of Swords we had in March, this is about letting go of an old version of self. This is about letting yourself be in your feels, have the emotions, know that if there's grief because you can't make like an old friendship, you've grown out of an old friendship, or like you just like can't see eye to eye with a boss or your partner for however long you've tried to make it work, like it's not quite working. Or maybe it's that you and your partner decide that like the place you're living isn't working, or an old like framework you've been having in your relationship isn't working. But there's something about May that just feels like very much deeply emotional. It feels like walking away from old patterns, old habits, old ways of doing things. Again, I pulled the Six of Cups in addition to that just flew out of my hand while I was talking. And that's about inner healing, some type of like reclamation of like an old version of yourself to move into this new version of yourself, to allow yourself, like in May, I would really recommend any retreats, any deep reflection. Like if you're looking at like planning trips, like make sure that the trips you're planning feel restorative, feel spacious, feel connective, feel very much around you sitting with little like the youngest version of you and their dreams and what lights them up. It feels also like a month to, I mean, you do you, but maybe not do family stuff, which can feel pretty activating oftentimes for all of us. But really letting this be your chosen space and your chosen place of connection and your chosen area to allow yourself to walk away from what isn't working for the purpose of creating a foundation that does work. And then June, we have Justice reversed, which is one of the major cards I spoke about at the beginning, and this Eight of Pentacles. So June to me feels like for this community, realizing what it means to be real with yourself and to be honest with yourself and to notice where we can often get like very critical of what is right and what is wrong and if things are actually working out the way we wanted them to work. And the more that you can let yourself be in the process with the Eight of Pentacles here of building something, and if you're feeling stuck or you're feeling like things aren't like the math isn't mathing, like this shouldn't be like sticking the way it is, letting yourself like recommit to the craft of living and the craft of being you, to the meditative aspect of producing. And by producing, I don't mean just for someone else to consume, but I mean you're producing like your vision, your dream, your, you know, even if love feels hard, you're still loving. Even if like conflicts feels hard, you're still repairing. Like you're still in that place of allowing yourself to build something bigger. And what does it mean, even if the world outside doesn't feel like it's quite lining up the way you thought it would be? What does it mean to really commit to your sense of honesty of like, this feels true to me. And this feels like if I'm looking at the facts, this is where I'm being real with myself. And this is where I'm allowing myself to be just and to be literal and to be honest. And it'd be a great month if you're into self-reflection at all, or journaling, which I think is a great way to externally process or externally, internally process that. Writing some type of vow to yourself, like this is what is important to me. This is what I'm vowing to myself. This is what is lighting me up. This is what is feeling most true to me in this moment. That is the kindest and most honest thing that you can do for you.
Boom. Ashley, thank you so much. And I want to get on your Miss Frizzle school bus.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for you and our friendship. And thank you for having me on Multihyphenate.
Of course.